Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer description is advised.
But what he thinks...
Stop. Oh my God!
Hostages in the Europe. Killers on the road. Driving here one of the most scariest police chases in Europe ever.
The hazards around them.
Hello, my name is Captain John. I've been a cop for 19 years and I have been working through England to police. So buckle your seatbelt because this is going to be the most horrific ride ever.
Great Britain, two kids in a stolen Peugeot race through roadways and roundabouts. Local officers are right behind them. Overhead, a helicopter with heat-sensitive radar turns night into day as it tracks the pursuit. Knowing they're caught, the kids start to panic.
Speed now 69 miles an hour.
What you're about to see is very graphic. They decide to run a red light, and it happens. They miss the first car by inches, and they almost make it. Fearing the worst, the officers run to the wreckage. Unbelievably, the teenagers walk away with just a few scrapes. This time, they were very, very lucky. Moscow, Russia, where the threat of hard time in some of the world's harshest prisons can't stem the exploding crime rate. But Russian police have a new weapon, a fleet of American muscle cars with powerful pursuit engines. Training on the job, the Russians add video cameras to complete their mobile anti-crime arsenal. Once in traffic, they spot a small European car. For no apparent reason, the driver suddenly speeds away. It's all the excuse Moscow cops need. In Russia, the police don't have to show probable cause. They can pull a car over for no reason at all. The suspect zips through traffic easily. The nimble little car is more maneuverable than the American cruisers. But the officers stay right on his tail. These cars are built for pursuit. And what they may lack in agility, they make up for in sheer power. The suspect continues his attempts to elude them, desperately trying to gain distance, even as more cops join the chase. Suddenly, the suspect blunders. He drives straight into the heart of city traffic. Surrounded by the powerful American vehicles, the suspect has no choice but to take to the curb. Still, this guy won't give up. He makes a run for it, but he doesn't get far. Inside the car, police find a cache of illegal weapons. The driver has good reason to panic. The Russian Constitution has no Second Amendment. Only the police and the military have the right to bear arms. Caught on the wrong side of Russian law, less than 2% of suspects make bail. The wait for a trial can last up to 4 years. Once convicted, they can expect to stay in prison a very long time. Great Britain. A light snow has left these English roads icy and treacherous. But this car thief doesn't care. He goes right onto the slick shoulder to try to get past this roadblock. It works. Overconfident, he accelerates on a slippery curve. Not a good idea. Now the driver is trapped. Panicking, he kicks out the window, making it much easier for the police to drag him from the vehicle. It'll be 4 years before this chap can drive again in any conditions. Here we are in Thames, England, as the quiet solitude of this peaceful countryside is shattered by the wail of sirens.
All we know is that this car was stolen in Swindon and is now about 40 kilometers from London.
This $100,000 Porsche Carrera convertible is flying through these curves on a collision course with disaster.
This man is absolutely fearless. He's driving like a race car driver, not slowing down.
In England, car theft is a serious crime, and the man knows that several years of his life are riding on his speed and skill.
Right now, the Metropolitan Police seems to be quite a ways behind and falling back. They can't begin to keep... Oh, look at that! He's passing these cars within inches.
But then he got desperate and made a mistake. A very big mistake.
Now he's passing that car, but there's a truck blocking him. Oh, my God!
At first, everything stops. A deadly silence. There is no movement from inside the car. You wonder how someone could survive hitting a truck at this speed. Smashing directly into the driver's side door.
The truck driver is going back to the car now.
They peel back the convertible top. He's alive, but trapped under the steering wheel. This man will now go to a British prison. To think about the one thing so many speeders forget. No matter how fast your car is, you can't control the people in front of you.
Next,
But what he thinks-
are scariest police chases in Europe.
Oh, my God!
A slowest police chase in Germany. A police chase in Great Britain. And satisfying pursuits in the Europe.
Teenage moped
ever.
riders.
Westphalia, Germany. In what has to be the slowest pursuit ever, police try to stop a man who's apparently stayed too long at the Oktoberfest. At least he has the sense to avoid oncoming traffic. But he can't seem to remember if the Westphalians drive on the right side or the left. Looks like he wants to play chicken with this oncoming lorry, but the driver stops. The biker swings out of his way just in time. He finally pulls over. Exhausted from his pursuit, he decides to have a seat and wait. Bad idea. The man now faces an impossible task, getting to his feet. But his cigarette seems to be weighing him down, so he tosses it away. He continues his battle to get vertical, and the police eventually, mercifully, take him in. This man fought the law and the law won. Great Britain. Sirens and smoke fill the air of this quaint neighborhood. A stolen car full of suspects squeezes through the thick traffic of these narrow streets. Unbelievably, the suspects drive right up this busy sidewalk. Frightened pedestrians scramble for cover. Back in the street, the suspects suddenly find themselves blocked in by traffic. What they do next is incredible. They stop, throw it in reverse, and gun it. Accelerating backwards, they're actually able to back over the hood of this officer's car and break through her windshield. Another inch and she would have been killed. As it was, the suspects were only charged with attempted murder. Reading, England. Two suspects are fleeing from a violent home burglary. So far, they've managed to keep ahead of pursuing officers. But the police have a plan.
I wouldn't be at all surprised to see the police attempt a rolling block here. Can we try and get a couple of traffic cars in front of the offending vehicle?
At over 90 miles an hour, the police prepare for a rolling roadblock.
These suspects are about to run into a wall of slowed down traffic up ahead. Slowing down in lane 3 into the near side, hard shoulder, onto the hard shoulder.
A few yards ahead, the first police cars are waiting, but the suspects blow right by them.
Unbelievable. They've gone right through the block.
What happens next is an incredible display of skill and daring. As the suspects throw their loot out the window, two officers race ahead.
Second police vehicle just got past.
If they can get the vehicle completely surrounded, they may have a chance. With two cars blocking the way just ahead, another one quickly moves up in the near lane to seal off any escape. It works.
They've done it. They're boxed in.
Now they just have to keep them there. A fifth unmarked unit barrels up the shoulder for reinforcement. Suddenly, the suspects see an opening. They go for it.
These officers are right on top of these suspects. Take him out. Take him out.
The squeeze is on.
They're actually forcing this car to the side of the road. What a brilliant maneuver.
They stay right on top of them until the suspects run out of road. And then there's nowhere else to go.
Stop.
They're high-centered on the guardrail. This chase is over. When you're trying to do something like this at 90 miles an hour, you better know what you're doing. Because if you do it right, the crooks go to jail for 5 years. And everyone else goes home, alive.
No further assistance required.
Devonshire, England. Police are after the most dangerous type of suspect there is, a suicidal one. After being alerted to the man's situation, officers find him charging through traffic at 80 miles an hour. They also learn something even more frightening. He's toting a container of gasoline inside the vehicle.
Information, he does have fuel on board.
The petrol-packing desperado doesn't care what happens to him, which could make it impossible for cops to keep everyone else safe. Two units coordinate a rolling roadblock. But this bloke's ready to raise some bloody hell. He bashes one squad car and tries to force the other off the road. The officer won't give in. He maneuvers back in front of the sedan. The punk rams him too. It's going to take more than just a couple of units to stop this heavy hitter. Farther ahead, 3 more form a barrier. And this time, the culprit can't break through. He rear-ends another cruiser, blocking bumpers and getting stuck. The chase is over. But the desperate man wants to end things his way. He ignites the fuel, turning his car into a fireball. Officers scramble to free him, but the heat is already overwhelming. And the blaze is too intense for their small extinguishers. Finally, they manage to pull the driver to safety. He's badly burned, but still alive.
Get out to the vehicle.
Police back away from the fire, and not a moment too soon. The flames reach the gas tank and consume the entire vehicle. This self-destructive suspect planned a date with doom, and he was bent on bringing some company. But his blaze of glory only earned him 3 years in jail and a lot of counseling from the prison shrink.
St. Petersburg, Russia. A drunk driver behind the wheel of a semi-truck wreaks havoc on the highway. He's already slammed into this police cruiser, cracking the windshield. The 4-ton behemoth weaves recklessly across the road, nearly flipping over. All cops can do is hang back and hope he doesn't kill someone. Suddenly, the intoxicated trucker swerves again. Officers race to pull the man from the mangled cab. Incredibly, he's not injured, but he has passed out. He's lucky. This is one drunken joyride that was headed down the road to ruin.
Birmingham, England. Police hightail it after 2 teenage joyriders in a stolen car. Winding roads and high speeds can be a deadly duo. especially with a young driver at the wheel.
Coming off at Watergate, repeat, coming off Watergate.
The driver tears up the road recklessly. Not even a close call with another car or a bus 10 times his size will slow him down.
Crossing green lane lights now, the other on green, going to red.
He won't stop for red lights. He won't stop for pedestrians.
Left.
He just won't stop, even though he may kill himself or someone else. High speeds make it hard for the inexperienced driver to hold the road. The cops have to end this threat before this ride becomes his last.
Going into the village now, down Church Street, I think it is.
The suspects head right into a police roadblock. They slow down. The cops are ready to pounce. But the driver isn't ready to give up.
Towards the lights on red,
The police stick with him.
Across the meadows.
More cops join the pursuit. The driver sees 2 police cars coming at him. He panics, and it happens. The teens slam into a stalled car and ricochet off another. Their joyride spares their lives, but costs them their freedom. They learn too late that a quick thrill in a stolen car just isn't worth it.
But what he thinks...
Stop.
Oh my God!
Hostages in the Europe. Killers on the road. They're gonna sail the road with you.
A manic scene unfolds on Germany's Autobahn. At over 100 miles an hour, a suspect fleeing a crime scene gives authorities a run for their money. With no speed limits here, officers are used to seeing vehicles tear up the road. But this guy's looking to tear up other drivers, including them. The desperado bashes between the cruisers, proving he'll take out anyone who gets in his way. But his determination to escape is outmatched by cops' resolve to rein him in. One patrolman blankets the front end of the van, refusing to let the fugitive pass. Despite absorbing a flurry of hits, he forces the runaway into the center guardrail, where he runs out of road for good. Now for fleeing from and then into police. He'll be forced to take a crash course in justice.
Police in Denmark, who tried to stop these 2 teenage moped riders, were amazed when the boys tried to make a dash for it. The law says these mopeds should be restricted to a speed of just 30 kilometers per hour. That's just under 20 miles an hour. But these 2 bikes are speeding at more than double the legal speed, nearly 40 mph. To foil their pursuers, the boys decide to go off-road. Officers suspect the boys have tinkered with the bikes, removing the manufacturer's restrictions. But to find out, first they have to stop them. They split up, and one boy disappears. In a desperate attempt to get extra speed, the boy starts to use his feet as his moped begins to slow. But it's too late. His bike has run out of petrol, and he has to give up. Officers took the teenager back to his father, who destroyed the moped rather than face prosecution.
Southern England. Police pursue a serial mugger wanted for ripping off elderly women. The man tears up city streets in a stolen car, narrowly avoiding calamity at every turn. The two-bit thief proves to be elusive. But what he thinks is a daring maneuver to escape will prove to be his undoing. He barrels over a median and nearly adds murder to his growing rap sheet.
And he's approaching the roundabout on the wrong side of the road.
That's when he makes his big move. Ditching cops by blazing the wrong way into a traffic circle.
The wrong way, the wrong way.
Now the granny bandit has officers going in all different directions. He thinks it's an ingenious ploy, but actually it's his fatal error. The fugitive's tricky maneuvering has left units spread throughout the neighborhood. No matter where he turns, an officer is nearby.
Yeah, Great Road now, right up to Great Road.
When he veers down a narrow alley,
Now right onto Little Down Road.
it's checkmate. A police car blocks his way. The desperate crook tries one more stunt. He jams it in reverse, slamming a cruiser. That's assault on an officer, and the last bad call he'll make today. Cops swarm and pull the driver out. Thankfully, his only victim is one dashboard camera. He thought the cops would be as easy to outrun as the senior citizens he preyed upon. But underestimating law enforcement was his biggest blunder. Now he's facing a prison sentence that will leave him among the aging.
In the Highlands of Scotland, a police pursuit driver thinks he has the situation under control despite speeds of up to 100 miles an hour. But then the criminals open the boot of their stolen Fiesta, and in a vain attempt to get away, they systematically start to empty the car. First the parcel shelf, then some papers, and a floor mat. The police driver pulls back just as the jack is thrown. Harmless objects become potentially deadly missiles as the driver dodges the barrage. In a desperate maneuver, the criminals throw a can of oil, which smears the screen. But all to no avail. The pursuit lasts for another 15 minutes before police capture the gang. They were carrying a variety of weapons and were equipped with balaclavas and ski masks. The man who threw the equipment out of the back of the car and the driver were both jailed. The passenger was sentenced to community service.
Dublin, Ireland. Hitting high gear on the motorway, two hooligans in a stolen BMW are desperately trying to outrun the law. But the county police, known as the Garda, have a helicopter tracking every move.
Officer 2, roger, yeah, we have him on camera.
The BMW may be fast, but when the driver gets loose on the soft dirt, the high-speed hijinks come to an abrupt end.
Straight across the green, straight across the green.
It only took a momentary loss of traction to send the suspects whirling across the center divide and spinning through opposing lanes. The broken-down Beamer finally settles to a stop, but the criminal cohorts are still in motion. As they break across a soccer field, the two men agree on a plan of escape.
Negative, still inside there at the soccer pitches.
The buddies plan to hop a fence and hide near an apartment complex. One suspect heads for the wall, but at the last second, the driver ditches him behind a bush. The fence-jumping suspect hides in the backyard, but his fair-weather friend never appears. By the time the suspect realizes he's on his own, the jig is up. His accomplice is caught a block away, thanks to the Irish eye in the sky.
Prisoner arrested there, units. All units, prisoner arrested.
Well done.
These car thieves started out as partners in crime. But as soon as the getaway got too rough,
Straight across the green, straight across the green.
it was every man for himself. Proof positive. No matter where you look in the criminal world, the only real team players carry a badge.
Well done.
Next on Scariest police chases in Europe.
Oh my God!
A man
Watch as the
stole
police
car.
rams the vehicle.
A psycho in a stolen car.
Be that easy.
And more chases will come.
Rotterdam, Netherlands. This man has stolen a car. The police are on the pursuit of a stolen car and the police have to make a move. Watch as the police rams the vehicle. Then the police rams the car off the road. The subject was in custody and thrown to jail for over 5 years.
Italy. A stolen car passes by. Then the police chases her. This led the police into a 1-hour chase. The police needs to catch this crook before someone gets hurt. As the crooks can do, they do something bad. The subject tries to outrun the cop. The police need to catch him quickly before he gets on the highway, or somebody gets hurt. The police is chasing him quickly. The subject was outrunning the cop to get away. More police cars are heard. The subject has an idea. Get away from the cops, outrun the cops, and go faster. The subject was pushing the car up to 100 miles an hour. The subject passed the oncoming car. The police need to do something quick before somebody gets killed. The subject makes a turn. Then he makes another turn. The subject managed to outrun the police. Then it goes all wrong. Then the subject sees a dead end. The subject was gonna be in jail for over 30 years because of reckless driving.
Finally, another stolen car on fake plates. But attempts to avoid detection by hiding the true identity of the Fiat Punto have failed. Now Greater Manchester Police are onto them. They're wanted in connection with a burglary the previous year in Stockport, which is when this car was taken. The driver is trying to escape down a quiet residential street, paying little attention to the hazards around them. He then takes police round the houses as he tries desperately to give them the slip. But it's not going to be that easy. Once he's on the open road, he puts on some seriously dangerous speed and nearly collides with one car after another. And when he reaches a red light, well, it's not hard to guess what happens next. The near side lane is blocked by roadworks, but the driver doesn't simply ignore the warning signs, he flattens them. Back on clear roads, he suddenly makes the decision to take a detour back onto residential streets. Ignoring the speed restrictions, the driver meets another junction and, well, a distinct pattern is beginning to emerge. But what he doesn't know is that he's heading towards a dead end. This road leads nowhere, except towards the police station in handcuffs. The driver was convicted of handling stolen goods, dangerous driving and driving whilst disqualified. He received a 12-month suspended sentence. Cloned plates weren't enough to hide this thief's string of offences.
Little time for such civility on the more frenetic patch of South London. Police are on the trail of a rider and pillion passenger suspected of drug possession.
We're chasing a solo. Just approaching the roundabout with Edgehill Road. He's been straight over, but up the speed to about 50 miles an hour. And traffic is heavy. 69 miles an hour, Pamperson Road, heavy traffic. Just approaching the junction of St Augustine's Avenue.
It's rush hour, and high-speed driving in these conditions requires a trained nerve and no little patience.
Approaching a mini roundabout. Come on, get out the way. Approaching a mini roundabout, the round it, he's off down Hillington. Pamperson Road, so sorry. It's approaching the next roundabout. He's done a left, going towards Five Ways.
Left into Five Ways, or towards Five Ways, please.
We're in Warham Road, he's doing a left again. Doing a left into Goodwin Road. Still going, he's going back towards Pamperson Road again.
Towards Pamperson again, please.
We're now approaching the Brighton Road, A23. He's doing a left in towards Croydon from Hillington Park Road. Brighton Road in towards Croydon, passing the Junction Road. 62 miles an hour. These two are maniacs, they're not going to stop. Towards Croydon, green traffic lights ahead. Junction Aberdeen Road, he's still going. We've been blocked in traffic.
He's still going.
He's still going towards Croydon.
Did you get the BMC up there?
No, I'm sorry.
By now, a police bike has been summoned, and as the car squeezes through heavy traffic, we can see the bike heading towards us in the opposite direction.
Yeah, Solo just gone the other way. He's in front of us. Approaching the junction at Boom Road, traffic lights are red, 58 miles an hour. fire station. Contact Nixon Woods.
The police bike has now joined the police car, and its intervention is decisive. As the suspects catch sight of the yellow-jacketed rider in their mirror, they know the game is up.
He's given himself up.
The pillion passenger was cautioned for possession of drugs, and the rider for dangerous driving, theft, and no insurance. He was disqualified for 2 years.
Well and truly detained, just a van unit needed, please.
A foolish choice that ends in tragedy. A terrible lesson that we've seen over and over again. From Thames, England to Tyler, Texas. From country roads to city streets.